Welcome. My name is Jessica Houston. I'm the admissions coordinator at Dodge College, and I'll be your moderator for this evening. This is our Dodge student panel. So please feel free to start submitting your questions in the Q&A section. If you see a question someone else posted and you also want it answered, make sure to give it a thumbs up. We do have that feature available, so we can make sure to answer that for each night. Some questions will be answered live. Some questions will be answered in the chat. We'll do our best to get to as many as we can tonight. So now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our wonderful panelists. If everyone can go around and say their name, their program, their major and minor if they have one, their year, and where they're from. So we'll start with Eli.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us this evening. Hello, everyone watching. My name is Eli Weiss. I am a film production major, an anthropology minor, and I am a senior here at Dodge College. So I just have a couple more months left.
Awesome. Where are you from?
I'm from Davis, California.
Carly?
Hi guys, so nice to have you here tonight. My name is Carly Correa. I am a junior creative producing major here at Dodge with a minor in creative and cultural industries, and I'm originally from Spring, Texas.
Thanks, Carly. Imani?
Hi everyone, my name is Imani Wright. I'm a broadcast journalism and documentary film major with a minor in Africana Studies. I'm from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, and I am a first-year transfer student.
Thank you. Lucas?
Hi, my name is Lucas. I'm a sophomore screenwriter with a minor in advertising, and I'm from North Bend, Washington.
Mia?
Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Mia Skype. I'm a sophomore film production major and I'm originally from Mexico City, but I lived in Florida and Irvine, California for the past 4 years, so I'm pretty local to Chapman.
Awesome, thanks everyone. So my first question for you all is, can you each tell us a little bit about your experience so far at Chapman and talk about some things that you're involved in as well? So we'll start with Carly on that.
Awesome. So my experience in Chapman has been incredible. It's been so transformative. You know, I thought I knew kind of what I wanted to do when I got to school, and that completely was turned on its head once I got into my classes: screenwriting, producing, production management. I was learning all these different things, especially in the creative producing major. It is so expansive and so comprehensive. And through all that, I've really discovered what I want to do and where I want to work. And some of the things I'm involved in is I've applied to be an orientation leader for next fall. And I'm currently doing my junior film, which is called an advanced production. So I'm producing an animated short film that'll be about 5 minutes long. So it's super exciting because I have a passion for animation. And although I'm not an animation major, I get to be involved in that and collaborate with a film production directing emphasis to make our film. So it's kind of what my experience has been like, and it's been wonderful.
That's awesome. Thank you. Lucas?
Yeah, my experience has been wonderful. Like I've gotten involved on set a few times, made short films, with my friends outside. Doing this is so much fun. I've been involved at the Newport Beach Film Festival. That's an opportunity I got through Chapman. And also, I think my biggest takeaway so far is just how much I've improved as a writer and as a creative individual. It's been my biggest takeaway so far. I think I really found my voice, and I'm so grateful for that.
Thanks, Lucas. Mia?
My experience at Chapman has been amazing so far. I think similar to Carly, it's taught me so much about things I didn't even know I was interested in or would be interested in. As a film production major, you have to declare, or you have to apply with an emphasis in mind. But the first 2 years that you're here, you're going to learn about all of the 5 different emphases that we have. And I thought I wanted to be a director. I still think I do, but there's just so many things that you learn about that you can delve into that are so cool and directly related also to directing, and so many things that you can explore. And I think it's also gave me a peace of mind. I think going into a creative career can sometimes be a little scary just because it's, known to be kind of difficult to make it and stuff, but you realize that there's so many jobs and so many things that you can do that people don't even know about. And coming here has taught me a lot about that. So.
Thanks, Mia. Imani?
Yeah, my experience so far at Chapman has been pretty great. I've learned a lot in my classes from some of the industry's best, so I'm really thankful for that. In terms of being involved on campus, I'm a part of the BSU, the Black Student Union, and I'm also a part of the women's basketball team. So it's been a really great experience so far, and I'm really thankful to have learned so much. And I'm already writing stories and like creating stories and video editing, even in my first year, and publishing them. So it's been really great.
Thank you. Eli.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed my time here at Dodge so far. I think that the film program and all the other programs are really well structured. So you get a lot of information and theory about each topic, but there's also plenty of time and space to actually apply those things in a hands-on way through projects and in little experiments and things, which I really enjoy. Some of the things I've been involved in, I was an orientation leader a couple of years ago. Obviously a tour guide and work in admissions. I ran a club here on campus for short filmmaking where students made a short film each month. That was a whole lot of fun, just to name a few. But yeah, it's a really great place to be. And anything that you want to do here, you will be supported in those endeavors.
Awesome, thank you. So we have a good amount of questions, it looks like, in our Q&A, so I'll go ahead and start getting to those. Nina asks, how difficult would it be to travel back and forth from LA to Chapman if you got a part-time job or internship there? Has anyone had the experience of interning or having a job in LA? Could you all talk about like the experience of interning? I know some of you guys have done that. Eli?
Yeah, sure. So interning is a great thing to do if you can while in college. Definitely no rush to do it, plenty of time. But if you choose to do it, yeah, there's lots of internships both in Orange, in LA, and sort of in between. I interned one summer at a post-production ad agency, so just helping to edit all the different advertisements they're working on. It was a lot of fun, a great experience to learn about the working world, network, meet people, and honestly, most importantly for me, kind of learn some of the things that I don't love in a job. And so I know what to look out for going forward. And then in terms of physically getting to different places, whether it's just around Orange or LA, obviously a car can be helpful here in Southern California, but certainly not a necessity by any means. We have a beautiful train station just behind one of our buildings here at Dodge. That's about a 45-minute ride to downtown LA and Union Station. So that's typically how I get to LA. I really like the train. You don't have to deal with traffic. You can work or sleep on it, which I definitely would not recommend you do if you choose to drive. So the train's a great option. And then once you're in LA, you can take the metro or get an Uber or something if need be. But if you need to get a ride and don't have a car, there's always people going to LA for internships or jobs. So finding carpools is another really easy thing to do here at Dodge, and students are always happy to help out. But I don't know if any of the other students on the panel have an experience they'd like to talk about.
No.
All right.
Great. Our next question is from Ava. Could one of you share some color on success graduates of Dodge College getting jobs in the TV, movie, and or animation industry upon graduation? Yeah. Since I know some of you, well, Eli, you're a senior, but Carly, you're a junior. Can you talk about how you're preparing for graduation?
Yeah, definitely. I think the best thing is to make connections with people. You can talk with your professors, you can talk with your friends, see where they're interning, where I've had a fellow tour guide and friend who is a year above me, and I said, hey, where did you intern? Or I saw that they had interned at some place, and I said, how can I intern there as well? So I asked him, and he helped pass me along, and now I'm interning there. So I'd say just make connections with your friends and your professors, because they're more than willing to help you. And the more connections you make, you can go back to those, like, 3 months later, 6 months later, you make the connection, you have a conversation with them. And then 6 months later, you say, oh, congratulations on this, or congratulations on this. How are you doing? And that person might say, oh, I have an opportunity for you. And I think that's the best way to be prepared when you graduate.
Yeah. And to name, I guess specifically you're looking for like what jobs people got into. One of the students that worked in our admissions office that graduated last year, she was interning with Sony when she was a student, and she now works with Sony full time. She was actually interested in producing, but she ended up working with their costume department while she was interning, and she liked it so much that she continued to do that and is doing that now as a full-time job. And then we had another student that interned at NBC Universal. She was television writing and production, and she always wanted to be in the writer's room. Her internship was not that. She did more like administrative stuff, like office stuff. But after she graduated, she's now working at Peacock, that's what it's called, the streaming service. So yeah, those are some examples. Our next question, Millie, is it difficult having multiple majors / minors, especially if they aren't both in Dodge? So I know that, okay, Imani, go ahead.
Yeah, because I have my major is broadcast journalism and doc, and then Africana studies is my minor, so that's like totally like separate. It's pretty good. It's really smart to kind of minor or major in something you're super interested in, but it's kind of the opposite of like what you're doing. And they make it really easy. And the minor load is only 21 credits, so it's not like too bad to the point where you would feel overwhelmed. So just make sure you're like balancing everything and like planning and having a lot of time management with it in order for it to work.
Thank you. All right, our next question is from Mia. What is the school environment like as a whole with the entire university and also within the film program in particular? So we'll start with, I guess, well, Chapman as a whole. Lucas, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, the environment here was the biggest selling point for me. You know, it's what got me to come here, and it's what's keeping me happy here. You know, like it's such a like tight-knit community. And I think there's a lot of other schools that are very cutthroat, especially in the film programs and even campus as a whole. You know, everyone trying to get to the top. And I think Chapman's super cooperative. Everyone's so excited to be here. And it's small enough to where like you can walk around a hallway and see people you know pretty frequently, but big enough to where, you know, you can see, you know, new people and meet new people all the time. It's kind of that perfect balance for me. And, you know, and just the actual small size of the campus and everything is, I think makes it interesting. It's just, it feels like home to me. You know, I'm only a sophomore, and just walking around, I feel so welcome all the time. It's wonderful.
Thank you. What about you, Mia, your experience specifically within Dodge?
Yeah, so that was actually like the main reason early decision to Dodge was because of the environment here. I was lucky enough to go to a high school that had a film program, and a lot of the students in that film program ended up going to Dodge. So I knew students that went there already, and I kind of was able to see the environment before going already. And I just realized that everyone there, especially at Dodge and at the film program, they truly just want to help one another and make sure that everyone is doing the best that they can. I think the main difference, like Lucas was saying, from Dodge and the other major film schools is that we know we're all in it together here, and we're all trying to help each other do the best that we can and make it as far as we can. And I think that's something that you can't really find in a lot of places, that kind of kindness, honestly, that students have here. And I really appreciate that at Dodge.
Thank you. Okay, our next question is from Elizabeth. Who has been some of the most impactful professors you've had? So we'll start with Carly on that one.
Oh my gosh, I'm always talking about this professor, but his name is Joe Rosenberg, and he has been so influential to me. He is like a mentor, a friend. I had a class called Overview of Producing with him, and he remembered my name from the job that I worked at Dodge. I worked at a front office, and he remembered my name the first day I walked into class, and I thought that was so kind that he kept me in mind. And so I asked to schedule a Zoom call with him, and we hit it off like right away. And since that point, he's been saying, hey, you know, I have this opportunity for you, or hey, make sure to join my class next semester. And he actually was kind enough. We had a guest speaker in one of his classes who was the vice president of scripted content at Disney Plus. And he knows that I would love to work for Disney one day. And he said, hey, write her a fan letter. Write her a letter saying how much you would love to work there one day. I'm going to send it to her and I'm going to get you connected with her. And so now I have that connection and it's so wonderful. And Joe Rosenberg isn't the only professor at Dodge like that. There are so many in all of the different majors that if you just shoot them an email, they're going to say, yeah, let's have a Zoom. Or when you're in person again, let's meet during office hours. And they're going to help you get where you want to go because that's what they're here for. They've had such success and now they want to pass it on to other people. And that's something that all of the professors want to do at Dodge. So definitely Joe Rosenberg.
Awesome, thank you. If you all decide to come to Dodge, I'm sure you'll be hearing Joe's name a lot. He's also the director of our careers office. It's like somewhat revamped. So he's the director of our careers and industry relations office. So Eli, what about you?
Yeah, I've had loads of great professors over my 4 years, so it's hard to pick just one, but I'll keep it short. So I've had one professor who's really been helpful to me in all my different creative endeavors here at Dodge, and that is Matthew Arkin. He's a great directing professor. He really helped me sort of hone my craft and learn how to direct actors, how to work with actors in a really, really good way that I still use sort of a lot of the techniques and sort of conversations that we had about working with actors today whenever I'm going into a project. So he's definitely had a huge impact on my sort of creative attitude, and I'm really grateful to have met him and gotten to know him here at Dodge, and definitely a relationship that will continue after I graduate.
Thank you. Imani?
Yeah, so I can talk about my professor, Brett Marcus. He's a broadcast professor and he also runs like Chapman News. He's been someone who's helped me like already in my first year and has told me like, hey, you can give me a call at any time, once everything goes back in person, go get dinner or something like that at some point. So like a lot of the professors here, like everybody else has said, want you to get connected into the industry and want to help you guys. So, and he's also a great teacher. He's somebody who's been in the industry for over 40 years and has won numerous awards. So for me, he's somebody I always say has had an impact on me.
Thank you. Mia?
Yeah, for me, I think it's been two people so far. Ronald Friedman, he was my screenwriting professor my first semester ever at Chapman. And it was actually the first class I ever had. And I remember he talked about how we were all like really brave and stuff for choosing a career that not a lot of people agree with. And it seems cliche and like simple, but it's something that was really, really nice to hear as a freshman, my first semester in college. And it just gave me the sense immediately of how much the professors here really care about the students. And another professor would be Tom McLaughlin. He was my IP professor. And when I was writing my IP, he was so amazing. I would literally call him and like on Saturday, and if I had a question about my script, and he would answer and help me. And it's just honestly, everyone I've had so far has been amazing. And I think it's because of that, they all have done so much already and don't really have to be here, but are here because they want to. So that's really great.
Thank you. You mentioned an IP. Can you tell students here what that is?
Yes, of course. So your IP is the first film you're going to make as a film production student. So your freshman year, you're going to have intro to visual storytelling, where you'll make like 5 to 6 short films, but they're like very low budget. You'll probably do them in the dorms and stuff. And then your first actual film is going to be your sophomore year, and that's your IP. It's a 3-2-1. So it's a 3-page script, 2 characters in 1 location. It's a 1-day shoot. It's really fun. And that's going to be like your intro to then your larger projects that you're going to do your junior and senior year.
Thank you. Lucas?
Yeah, I've been racking my brain because I feel like I could talk about every professor I've had, especially in the screenwriting department. But one that really comes to mind is John Matson. He's written a couple of the Free Willy movies, and I did in interterm class, this last interterm, a script coverage workshop with him, and it was like almost 3 hours of him just like giving great advice about the industry and really just chatting about like, hey, here's how it is, here's what you need to do. The other week I went to his office hours and talked to him for like 2 hours, just chatting personally, and yeah, I think he's such a great guy. And that's just an example of, the kind of relationship you can have with your professors here. It's not this big auditorium with hundreds of people where they don't know your name. It's very personal, and I love it.
Thank you. All right. Our next question is about study abroad. Has anyone here studied abroad? No. I know some of you know what the process is like, but then pandemic happened. Okay, so Jenna asked, are there any study abroad program opportunities that are specifically to Dodge? Well, Carly?
Yeah, I'll say there's kind of two different answers to this. One is a lot of the film classes at Dodge you really can't get anywhere else. So I would recommend if you do go abroad for a full semester, which is what a lot of students do, try to do your GE classes or your minor classes while you're there, or just take fun classes because the Dodge classes really are so specific. It's probably best to take them here. So you can go semester abroad, you can go to Italy, you can go to Spain, you can go, I was supposed to go to Scotland, you can go anywhere that you pretty much want. And the Global Study Office is really good about kind of pointing you in the direction that would be best for your program. And there's a separate section where we have just travel courses that are for a couple weeks. You spend a couple weeks at Dodge studying and learning and preparing for your time abroad. And then you can go and do a travel course, which is about a week or two usually in a given place. So I know there's one that goes to film festivals. There's one that goes to Sundance in the wintertime. There's filmmaking in France, making documentaries in Spain. There's so many different options. So that's a good one too. If you don't really want to commit to a whole semester and you want it to be more film based, those are really good options. And you do get a tuition waiver for your first one. So that's really nice as well to save some money if you don't want to go spend a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Mia.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was gonna do a semester abroad in Prague, and then COVID happened, so I wasn't able to do it. But as a film production major, I also thought coming in that might be a little hard to like go abroad for a full semester. But I think if it's something you really want to do and you plan it well, it's 100% doable. I was gonna take some of like my film history classes and stuff also over there, which those you could transfer. I think it's just more like the production stuff, like Carly was saying, those don't really transfer. And now that since I couldn't go because of COVID, I'm going to do the travel course over the summer. So there's definitely so many options, even if something doesn't work out. There's a lot that you can do for sure.
Thank you. Okay, this next question, I'm gonna have Eli take this one. Jacqueline asked, is the program small enough that you know and have strong relationships with other Dodge students, or is it more of a faces in the crowd situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I came from a really small high school, so I was really used to sort of knowing everyone in my cohort and getting to, talk to people on a regular basis, especially the sort of teachers and stuff. So coming to Dodge was a big relief. And one of the reasons I picked the school was because of the size and the community that it had. You definitely are really in a small class size of students in your major and even just the whole Dodge College, both, the number of students, but also the way that they've designed the school physically is really nice, where you kind of are always bumping into different people. So it's really nice to know everyone who's going to school with you, be able to kind of make new friends, but always keep this great solid group of friends of people you'll probably meet in your freshman year. And it's nice that the class sizes are small enough that your professors really get to know you and you get to know your professors, as we were obviously just talking about a couple of questions ago. So I would definitely say you don't have to be worried about sort of being lost in this big crowd. You'll definitely have, your own voice and your own say in everything here at Dodge.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so our next question is from Jaden. I'll have Amani take this one. Do you feel like you're being well prepared / placed to get a good job in the film industry, considering how notorious it is for being tough to break into?
Yeah, I think Chapman overall and Dodge prepares us like really well for that. Honestly, the Career Center has so many networking events, so many just things overall for you to get involved and for you to get to know employers We have 2 career fairs, so we have one in the fall and then one in the spring. And even as a first year, I've taken advantage of those opportunities and gotten connections with people at news stations across the country. So I think honestly, I've been super prepared, and kind of Chapman kind of gives you that leg up because they know a lot of people in the industry, a lot of alumni come back and help out. And even students, like people have said before, kind of interact with each other and let people know about different opportunities. So I think you'll be just fine if you end up coming to Chapman.
Thank you. Okay, we have a question from, I think, a family. The Shivers ask, what's your favorite event or activity specific to Dodge College? We'll start with Lucas.
Favorite event or activity for me, even though I haven't been on set nearly as much as people I know, but that's been my favorite thing. You meet so many people in such a small amount of time, and because it's so much hard work, you really bond with those people, I feel like. And so just from a few times on set, I've just created this web of people I really consider friends. And it's so much fun to be there too. And it, you know, it moves so fast. So you learn so many things. And yeah, I think it's one of the most important things to do here at Dodge. You know, you don't have to do it, but it's free. You know, you can go and do it. And I totally recommend.
Thank you. What about you, Carly?
Yeah, for me, it would be our senior thesis screenings. So we have senior thesis, which is the film that film production, creative producing students, they pair up and they get screenwriters involved and editors involved and cinematographers involved. Pretty much a lot of Dodge, pretty much most of Dodge gets involved with these. And we screen them at the end of the year, I believe, I think it's like in April or May, and we come into our Felino Theater and you get to go on stage and talk about your film after it shows, which is such a lovely like thing to be able to talk about what you made. And everyone there is so supportive and so excited that you got to make your film and show it to everybody. And we get friends and family coming, and even if you can't attend in person, it gets streamed on Twitch. And it's just a really great representation of what Dodge is, which is just collaboration, a big family, and a lot of talent. And it's a really great way to sum up their senior year.
Thank you. Okay, our next question is from Maddie. What are the similarities and differences between film production and creative producing? Do creative producing majors still do hands-on work while creating their own films? Carly?
Yeah. So creative producing is very hands-on, definitely. It's not, as Mia had mentioned earlier, you're going to be an intro to visual storytelling as well. So you will get experience holding a camera, shooting, editing. But as you go along in your degree, it is hands-on, just in a different way. You'll still be on set. You'll still be really closely working with the director and everyone on the set, the UPM, the second AD, the first AD. But it's more hands-on in terms of you'll be setting up production meetings and running them completely by yourself. You are in charge. You'll be creating master schedules and budgets using Movie Magic budgeting and scheduling. So it's very hands-on, just different in the way that film production is, whereas, an editing emphasis is going to be using Avid, or a cinematographer is going to be actually shooting the senior thesis. So that's kind of the two differences. It's more, whatever your specialty is, whether that's production design or editing or sound design and film production, you'll be working on that. And then creative producing, it's more learning how to do script coverage, production management, like budgeting and scheduling.
Thank you. Okay, we have a question about transitioning. So Lisa asked, for out-of-state students, what was it like transitioning to a new environment or preparing to come to Chapman? Imani?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Obviously, like with everything, you get a little homesick, but I think the community at Chapman does a good job of like making sure you're good and like making sure you're okay. I think the best thing to do in terms of like having a smooth transition is to take advantage of all the help that Chapman offers you and like your professors and stuff like that. and try your best to make friends. I know that sounds like cliche, but I'm sure you'll find a group of people that you'll be able to mesh with, especially with all the clubs and events and things that they have on campus. And then also be sure like to kind of like check in with your family. Like I know for me when I was off, I always called my mom like once a week to check in, just to be like, hey, like how are things going at home? And also keeping in touch with friends at home too can also help. Or even kind of doing things that remind you of home as well is another way to kind of make the transition a little bit easier.
I would also just add, even if you're not from out of state, you should call your mom once you get to college.
Nice. Thank you. Okay. Our next question is from Kyle. Did anyone apply for another school besides film school, and what made you decide to pick Dodge over it? So this is a good question. What ultimately made you decide to choose Dodge compared to the other schools you applied to? Mia?
Yeah, so I early decision to Dodge, so I was sure that I wanted to come to Dodge above any other school. And I think the main reason for that was because I knew how hands-on Dodge is compared to the other major film schools that I was considering. And I know me personally, first of all, I don't really learn that much by lecturing and just listening to someone talk. I kind of need to do things myself and try it out myself. And then that's the only way I'm going to learn. And I feel like in this sort of career and industry, is when you're a creative individual, that's honestly the only way you're going to get better is by doing things and learning from your mistakes and just keep moving forward. And I know that Dodge would allow me to do that from the very first moment that I got here. I knew I wouldn't have to wait till I was a junior or a senior to actually get my hands on a camera or to step foot on set. And I know that at a lot of the other schools, even though they may have a big name and that sort of thing, it's more of just that, the name, and it's really a lot of more lecture based, a lot more people. You don't really get that kind of close community and kind of personalized, honestly, education that you kind of do here at Dodge, because you're able to honestly just kind of make your own path and do as much as you want or as little as you want. And I think that's something that is amazing about Dodge. And I think people in the industry also know that about Dodge students, and they know that we honestly really do know what we're doing because we have to do it and learn it while we're here.
Good answer. Thank you. Does anyone else want to add to that before I go to the next question? No? Okay. Sorry. Bennett asks, how do you balance working on classes and making films? Do you worry more about making films? Eli?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's definitely something that I thought a lot about in my first year here. I really loved the classes and I loved sort of the different little projects I was getting to make, but in high school I was making sort of my own films all the time, and I was really starting to miss that. And that's why I just kind of took it upon myself to, in my free time, commit to making one film every month. And for me, honestly, in terms of my priorities, being in film school, making films was kind of one of my top priorities. So obviously, I think, passing your classes and grades are important, but I was always able to do that and still put film first, which was really nice to know. And I felt like I was supported in that decision by my peers who were always willing to help me on my projects, by my professors who were always willing to give me feedback and notes on them. And also by my professors outside of Dodge, who always understood that that's sort of what I was here to learn. And so, if I needed a little extra help in my math class, they were there for that too, which was nice.
Awesome. Is that how you got Short Club started?
Yeah, it just started with me and my roommate doing it ourselves, saying we were going to make a film every month, and then our friends liked it, so we just said, okay, we'll make a club.
That's so cool. Okay, so our next question is from Maddie for Mia, I think. I've heard that while on campus, people are allowed to help out on sets during the weekends. How would that work?
Yeah, so basically we have a Facebook group called Chapman Film Connection, and students are constantly posting there if they need extra hands on set. And I promise you, most sets need extra hands, so there's always a ton of opportunities. And then also a lot of times it's just simply if you know people, and by networking again, then they can ask you to come on set if they need an extra pair of hands. So it's kind of just up to you if it's something that you're interested in. I would definitely suggest putting yourself out there, meeting people, joining these groups, and kind of just staying aware of what's going on and seeing what opportunities there are that you can take. But there's definitely a lot and a lot of ways for you to get involved very easily.
Thank you. For Lucas, how has this past school year been for you online? Motivation, creativity, your education overall?
I think my motivation as far as writing has actually gone up, because I think a big reason of that is because this year I began my feature screenwriting class. I'm working on one huge screenplay over 2 semesters, and I'm really invested in that. That takes up a lot of my time. But as a screenwriter, I'm pretty lucky that there's not a lot of things I do with the camera. I'm really just in final draft, so the online experience has been pretty smooth for me, I think. I don't know if any of you, film production students have a different opinion on that, but for me, it's been pretty good, and I've been really, really productive, especially with the extra free time that not having to go to campus provides me. But I do really miss going.
What about you, Imani?
Yeah, for me, so I basically started out online, but it's been pretty good. Honestly, the teachers are doing a great job and the professors are doing a great job of keeping us engaged and even doing stories like online. And it's been really cool because everybody's kind of in different places. So we've got to hear stories from, I have a person in my class who's from Bali. So she got to tell a story like from Bali, and I'm in Michigan. So I get to tell stories that are here in Michigan. So it's just really cool to kind of see like the diverse storytelling that we got to showcase this past semester.
Thank you. What about you, Eli, as a film production major?
Yeah, it's definitely been a transition, not something I ever would have wished would happen to me in college, but so be it. And I think both the faculty and the students have definitely been able to make the most of a bad situation. I was able to shoot my thesis film this past December, which was definitely a challenge, had some new obstacles for sure, but we were able to do it, and the faculty were super supportive every step of the way, helping us navigate the new landscape of making a movie in COVID. And then also to Lucas's point, we've tried to make the most of the free time, especially with the non-school projects. Obviously, most people in the film production major are making films to some extent on their own outside of class. And so it has kind of been nice to free up some time for those smaller projects where you do just kind of need yourself and whatever camera you can get your hands on, even if it's just your phone. Making things with your roommates or whoever you're with, your family, has been really fun to see the students get creative with what they're able to do right now.
Thank you. Okay, we have a question from Gretchen. How often do you have guest speakers in your classes? Carly?
Yeah, it depends on the class. Right now I'm in a class for production financing, and we have a guest speaker almost every week that talk about tax incentives and production financing and international financing. And so that's really great, really interesting, because again, at the end of that Zoom class, usually the guest speaker will be kind enough to put their email in the chat, and that means I get to copy that email down if I have any questions or I want to speak with them further and make a connection with them. I can do that. And then, like I mentioned earlier, in Joe Rosenberg's class, he has guest speakers almost every single week, and then sometimes depending on the class, it can be more rare, like maybe 1 or 2. It kind of just depends on what the structure of the class is. But definitely you'll have at least 1 or 2 classes that will be very guest heavy.
And we've also had our master classes going on. We don't have one this week because it's spring break, but we've had Lena Waithe this semester, Jason Blum, Barry Jenkins, Can anyone speak to their experience going to the masterclass? Imani? Oh, Luca first. Okay. Imani.
Okay. But yeah, I honestly, like, I love the master classes. When I saw the names, I was like, oh my gosh, Lena Waithe, Barry Jenkins, like all these people. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So it's been a really cool experience, and it's really nice to hear from people who are big in the industry too. And to see like who they are as people, and kind of to get an inside scoop on like who they are and like inspiration for their films, and kind of a more like tighter, like tight knit setting. There's not like 1,000 people around or anything like that. There's probably about like 400 to 500 people there. So it's just really nice. And it's virtual, so that allows like everyone kind of to get involved and to see it and everything like that. But it's amazing, honestly.
Eli, were you gonna add something to that? Okay. Let's see, our next question. Let's see here. From Fiona, what is something you wish you knew going into Chapman/Dodge? No, that's a big question. Mia?
Can I have a moment?
Go ahead. Okay, yeah. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Eli.
I can go. Yeah, I think definitely one of the main things I've learned in the past 4 years here at Dodge is nothing specific I've learned in a class or doing one specific project, but sort of a culmination of all that work put together is really just to trust yourself and your creative instincts. I think people talk a lot coming out of school about, like finding their voice, or coming into school about like, trying to find their voice. And I think the easiest way to do that, and something I wish I knew coming in, is to just trust my creative instincts, to know that, I belong here, and anything that I make is going to not be perfect, not be wonderful by any means, but it has merit to it. And I'm going to learn from each project, and apply those lessons to the next one. And that's the most important thing about being in film school and about making films after film school, is that it's never about the project you're doing. It's always about making the next project even better.
Thank you. Lucas?
To go alongside that, I think just be confident, not just in your creative abilities, but in interactions, as far as networking and everything. I think that's huge. Like, not everything is going to land in your lap. Like, we're very connected here at Chapman, but you still have to take that extra step. Initiate that conversation. Don't be afraid to ask your professor, like, hey, what can we do here? Don't be afraid to talk to people, to send that cold email or that LinkedIn message. Just put yourself out there.
Go ahead, Mia.
I would also say to be open-minded. I think that's something that I've learned as well, is there's so much that we don't know, and so many things that I feel like I had, like I said at the beginning, that I had no idea I would be interested in, but just from accepting certain jobs, or like jobs on set and stuff, I've just learned that there's so much to this industry that I didn't know about before coming here. And I think, yeah, directing is what I want to do and it is what I love, but there's so much more to the industry that I think a lot of times we kind of forget about because of the big name stuff. And I think it's just kind of cool to be open-minded and gain experiences in different things. And I think that also just kind of makes you a better artist overall, just trying out more things and knowing more things.
Thank you. Carly, Imani, anything to add?
I would say that, everyone at Dodge and at Chapman, but specifically at Dodge, is so creative and so ambitious and so talented. And sometimes, especially if you don't come from a film background or whatever major, you are in, like I had no film experience, and I was coming in with people who had produced lots of films that have gotten awards or done these great things. And you may feel like, oh, I'm not as good. And don't ever feel that way, because the people around you, they want to share whatever knowledge they have, whatever experience they have with you. And you don't have to feel like you're playing catch up, because everyone is going to go on their own paths. There's going to be things that they don't know, things they know that you don't know. And you're going to get there and you're going to find your own way, and it feels scary at first, but there's just so much that you learn, and it's so transformative that by the time that you graduate, even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, you're going to feel more knowledgeable and more complete as a person. Yeah.
Thank you. Imani?
Yeah, honestly, I would say get comfortable with being uncomfortable, kind of like going off of what Mia said. Like, I'm in a television writing and production class as a broadcast journalism and documentary film major, and I'm directing my own talk show. Like, that's something I never thought I would be doing. And I've actually enjoyed it. So I think just get comfortable with being uncomfortable and like taking risk, and your professors are going to push you and challenge you, and accept that because they obviously see something in you, and the school sees something in you for you to be there. So
Thank you. That's so cool, by the way. That's awesome. Okay, our question here is for Eli, since you're the only senior here. For the Chapman seniors, what does your post-college options look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's one I'm definitely asking myself right now. COVID has certainly changed things a little. My plan was always to just go travel for a while after graduation, but that's not quite going to happen in time for me, I don't think. So I've sort of switched to looking for work first, and I'll go travel in a year or something. But yeah, I'm just starting to apply to jobs, do a lot of informational interviews with people who are doing the jobs that I want to be doing in 5 to 10 years, hearing about their path to getting there, what advice they have, who they recommend I talk to. So a lot of those people are obviously alumni who I've been able to get in touch with, but others, like sort of Lucas was mentioning earlier, are just people that I found on LinkedIn. I find their email and I ask if they'd be willing to talk to me. So it's definitely a process. It takes time to find a job. No one's going to hand you one with your diploma, but it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to start working and graduate.
Thank you. This next question is specifically addressed to Imani. What is the broadcast journalism and documentary major like? Do you get experience on any sets?
yeah, so honestly, like right when you get in your first broadcast journalism and documentary film class, you're creating stories. So in my first class, my professor was like, "Hey guys, okay, so your first story is going to be a 2-minute clip about a recent news event." So you really get that hands-on experience, and obviously with COVID, like we haven't been able to like get our hands on cameras or anything like that. So as like a freshman and a sophomore, like you kind of get your hands on like camera equipment and learn about lighting and things like that in terms of a newscast, and you kind of learn what a newscast is like. And then in your junior and senior year, you work at Chapman News. So Chapman News is basically like the news program at Chapman, and it's actually the only news broadcast in Orange County. So just want to say that. So you get to work on set. So things you get to do there, you get to be like an anchor, so the person who like kind of holds down the news. You get to be a reporter, you get to be work in sports, you could be a meteorologist. And if you don't want to be in front of the camera, you can be a producer, you can be an executive producer, you can be a director, or you could do like tech. So you could work the oh my gosh, why am I blanking on this? I should know what this is. It's where you read like the lines off of the script. So you get to work that, and then you get to work the control board too. So you get to like press the buttons and stuff like to switch camera angles and all those things like that. So that's like the experience like overall for like broadcast journalism and doc.
Thank you. This next question is for Lucas. It asks specifically about screenwriting. Would you say that screenwriting majors are hands-on as well?
In terms of like hands-on making, short films and everything, I've done that. All screenwriters take intro to visual storytelling, just like everyone else. And actually, my specific section was screenwriters and actors only. So that's a really interesting combination. And I was able to make a lot of short films that kind of bled into COVID, and then I was able to make them at home. So that was actually really interesting. But every screenwriter can get involved on set, like I mentioned. And as far as actually writing things, you're not just learning about writing, you're actually creating screenplays. I'm oh gosh, I think I've just hit like the 80 page mark for my feature. Getting close to being done, and that's just the first one. I'm going to be making more features. I've already written a ton of shorts, so you really get to just keep writing and writing and writing and writing. As a screenwriter, usually you'll have something, whether it be a whole short script or pages of a larger script, due like every single week. So you get a lot of practice in all sorts of different genres. It's very hands-on.
Thank you. Carly, earlier when you were doing your introduction, you mentioned creating like an animation. So we had a student ask, what is the interaction between animation and film students? I feel like they may be asking about the program, but can you talk about your experience in animation as a creative producing student?
Yeah, absolutely. They are a little bit separate. I think animation students, they're so tight knit. It's such a small major, but all you have to do is kind of reach out, and then that it's already like that gap is bridged. For me, I am supposed to make a live action film, but due to COVID, I didn't want to be on set. And I said, well, let's make an animated film. And me and my director decided to do that. And we actually reached out to a professor who works in animation and visual effects at Dodge. And we said, would you be willing to help us and advise us? Because, we're not as advanced in this. And he said, yes. And he said, do you want me to make your project as part of my curriculum and have my students help you and learn from you and collaborate? And we were like, of course. So there is room for collaboration, and all you have to do is just reach out to the professors, reach out to the students. A lot of Dodge students live action films have VFX or animation. It's not the whole thing usually, but all you have to do is find a Dodge student that's willing to work with you, and they can animate for your film. I don't have a ton of experience, but it's been super fun so far.
Thank you. Okay, this next question, what do students typically do outside of class in more normal circumstances? So I guess like, pre-pandemic. Eli?
That's a great question. It definitely differs student to student. Whatever you're interested in, there's tons of clubs on campus. You're able to be obviously on a sports team like Amani is, which I didn't know about. That's super cool. Or you can be a part of Greek life. There's, of course, free time outside of class if you learn how to manage your schedule well to do other things, pursue your own hobbies and interests. So yeah, it's kind of up to you. College is this wonderful sort of safety net of time that you get to have to explore whatever interests you. And that's really what I would encourage you to do while you're here, both in school and outside of school. I've had the privilege to be able to explore passions of mine outside of class just because of the time that college affords you. And that's been a really rewarding experience as well.
Thank you. So you mentioned like Greek life. There is like a film fraternity. Carly, aren't you in that?
I rushed for it, but I'm not in it.
Oh, okay. Is anyone here in that? No? Okay. Well, it is an option if students were interested in pursuing that. Okay. This next question, how have professors approached virtual learning within filmmaking? Are things assigned or are they lecturing on Zoom? Mia?
So it's both. I think it depends on the classes that you're taking. So IP, for example, I took that last semester and we were online, and that's a class that's entirely about you making a film. So it was a little bit like, okay, what are we gonna do at first? But it ended up working out perfectly fine. We all ended up making our films. Obviously there are like COVID restrictions you have to follow now and stuff, but for the most part, I think, like everyone said, the professors have done a great job of finding creative ways to still get these projects done. I think another great example would be my directing one class that I had last semester as well. That class is supposed to be entirely working on scenes, like the entire semester, and you're supposed to do scenes in person during the class. So we were like, how are we going to do that on Zoom? And it actually ended up being really cool. We all just had to record our scenes individually. And it was really great because we were all in different places in the world. So we had to find a way to make it look like the actors were in the same room, even though we weren't. And it's just really great. It helps with creativity, I think, and just kind of finding ways to adapt to the environment. But the professors have definitely still made sure that we're working on projects and doing hands-on stuff as much as we can.
Thank you. Okay, so we're getting close to 7 o'clock. So I'm going to have this be our last question. Why should students come to Dodge? One sentence. Students are trying to make their decision. Why Dodge? Give it a second. That's a big question. Lucas. No. Okay. Does anyone have their answer?
I can throw something in. I think, and I spoke on this a little bit, but it will change you as a creative person. It will make you realize who you are, and it'll bring out the absolute best in you. From my experience, that has been the biggest takeaway.
Thank you. Mia?
Going off of what I said earlier, again, if you really want to get the best education in a creative major in film specifically, I think hands-on is the only way you're really going to do that, and Dodge is a place that offers that.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would just say come to Dodge and you'll be supported and encouraged by everyone around you to pursue your own creative interests.
Imani? Okay.
Oh, Carly, did you want to let Carly go? Or should I go?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, I think coming to Dodge, you are pushed, you're challenged, but in the end, it's worth it all, and you'll be prepared.
Carly?
This is cheesy, but Dodge feels right. It feels like home, and you will be very, very happy here. Even if it's not initial, there are so many opportunities to get to that place where you feel really content with where you are and what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I know there were a lot of questions, not a lot, but there were a couple that we weren't able to get to. I know we were able to answer some questions in the chat directly, but please feel free if you want to continue having a conversation with our students here. They're all on Unibuddy, which is our like messaging system through Chapman. It's virtual, so you can connect with them there. And then we're also having virtual tours right now. All of our students here also give those tours, so if you want to see them there, you can as well. And if you have any questions for us, admissions, even though you're past that process, we're happy to help. So you can email us at dodgeadmit@chapman.edu, and we'll make sure to answer your questions there. Thank you so much, students. Anything else to add? No?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Have a great night.